Welcome to today's episode of 31 in 31, a month of conversations with Proverbs 31 women. And today might just be one of my favorites of the entire series. As we are winding down with tomorrow's finale, today's conversation is one packed full of wisdom. Miss Ruth Koptis, a woman whose 94 years of life have been filled with faith, grace, and wisdom, will be today's guest. She is known lovingly by her family and close friends as Muppy. Ruth has spent decades mentoring women, encouraging them through every season of life, and reminding them of God's faithfulness through all of life's changes. She's lived through remarkable times, witnessing shifts in culture, changes in the church, and in the world. Yet one truth has anchored her heart: God never changes. When asked her thoughts about change, Ruth said something so profoundly simple. She said, "The one thing I know about change is that it's never going away." In that one statement is a lifetime of perspective, humility, and faith. In today's conversation, we'll talk about the beauty of aging gracefully, the importance of mentorship, and what it means to live a Proverbs 31 life that stands strong through every season. Ruth's story is a reminder that wisdom is a gift meant to be shared, and her faith continues to inspire generations to come. Join me now for this wonderful conversation with the beautiful Miss Ruth Koptis. Good morning, Miss Ruth. It's so nice to meet you. I'm so grateful that we have a mutual friend that connected us and that you are excited about participating in this 31 in 31 series in our podcast this month, where we are having just conversations with women who have strived to live their lives in the Proverbs 31 virtues and values. And you came highly recommended as one of those women. And so I am so excited to talk to you today. And I can only hope and pray that I look as youthful and beautiful as you do at 94 years of age. Wow, what a beautiful person you are.
Well, I facetiously say solely because I color my hair and wear makeup.
I'm going to, as long as I'm alive and I've got the money in my bank account, I'll be doing the same. I'll be doing the same. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about those 94 years. What are some of your fondest memories of those 94 years? Just a couple of them.
Well, of course, my fondest memories are being married and having 4 children and being so blessed to be chosen by the Lord to become His. And I really don't know where my life would be if He had not chosen me. And I am so grateful for that.
That's wonderful. That is wonderful. What are a couple of things, just a couple of monumental moments in your life that have helped shape your faith?
Well, I think outstanding is sad. We lost our son 41 years ago to brain cancer. And of course, we were more than nominal Christians. I mean, we had come to Christ, although we came later. We were in our 40s, churched all of our lives, but we did not accept Jesus or know to accept Jesus until we heard a pastor speak on it, and it did change our lives. So my husband came to Christ about 5 years before I did, and he was, ever so patient with me. He was a very busy and a very popular man. He was a business owner, and he often would become involved with many aspects of it. And everything he chose to join or help fund, he rose to the top. So when he became a Christian, I kind of, the devil let me think that, it's just one more thing that he's into. But God showed me the way, and I was very grateful for that. I'm eternally grateful for that, needless to say.
What are some of the biggest changes that you have witnessed in the church and particularly in women's roles over the years?
Well, of course, the church has changed. I won't say the direction because I still attend churches only that are Bible preaching churches
Hmm.
and solo scripture, you know.
Right.
So, but there have been difference in the roles. I have been involved in two extremely large churches in most of my life, and the the one church was not a Bible preaching church. And we found through the Lord's leading that we had to leave there and move to Akron, 50 miles away, to learn under a pastor named David Burnham, who was wonderful, wonderful expositor of the word. And so that really helped with our growth.
Hmm.
But the women's roles were still kind of set in stone there. And since that time, I've gone to a much smaller church. And the women, of course, it is a Baptist church. And the women's roles are still much the same, except that the women are picking up the gauntlet and finding things for women to do.
Hmm.
A wonderful thing. And
Right.
yeah, and but as far as the preaching and the advising and so on, it's still the man's role in the church, I believe.
Let's reflect on a quote that you said in our conversation last Friday when we were visiting, preparing and discussing today's conversation. When I asked you, we were having a discussion about change, and you made this comment. You said, "The one thing I know about change is that it's never going away."
That's exactly right. Change is always changing.
Change is always changing. Yeah, yeah.
Of course, at 94, I won't say I'm set in my ways. I hope I'm not too set in my ways. But there are a lot of things that have changed in the church, if that's what you're referring to.
Oh, just in general, even.
Oh, in general, well, we all know what that is. It's called electronic. And it drives me crazy. I always need help. Fortunately, I live next door to my daughter, so she's always at the ready to get me out of the mess I've made on my computer. But I do love my computer. It takes up some of my time that I have too much empty time now, so I try to use it in a healthy way. But the change that I see that bothers me, let's start with that. The change that bothers me is the word kind. I kind of think that people have forgotten what it means to be kind. There's so much rudeness, and everyone is so quick, quick in movement, quick to judge, quick to assume. And of course, life used to be a lot easier. We didn't have the choices, we didn't have the things that are so available to everyone now. We didn't know we needed them.
Right.
So I think most of it, the people that I know that are close to my age, and I must say that I get lonely sometimes because I've lost a lot of my friends, and so it's hard to discuss things with the next generation down. How do you explain to them what it was like not to have this or not to have that?
Hmm.
Um, but I think the thing that well, for instance, when my brother was born in 1940, my mother was very ill. And the doctor's wife that lived 3 doors down just had a new baby at the same time. Well, that woman nursed her baby plus supplied milk for my brother
Oh,
in his
wow.
infancy. Now, do you believe that anyone did that in this day and age?
They wouldn't tell about it if they did because they might get in trouble, you know?
Well, this is true. You know, there would be 100 reasons that you shouldn't do that, but it was done and it was done successfully. You never had an illness that somebody wasn't at your door with a pie or a casserole, or a new baby, or a death in the family.
Mm-hmm.
If you had a death, your whole kitchen was loaded with gifts of food from other people.
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't believe, well, we've had a death on our street two doors down. I didn't even know it.
Yeah.
So that's how closed in everyone seems. And
Mm-hmm.
that to me is a big, big change.
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
think everyone's life deserves a memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what their life was, how it was, who it was, everyone has value.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's life should be valued. And, but it's not, I've had several instances of that. Not everybody has the same feelings that other people do. And as far as cost effective, you can have friends and family over for a cup of coffee and
Mm-hmm.
just value her memory. It's just that it just goes to prove we're all different.
Right. Right. And times are changing.
Don't have the caskets in the living room anymore like
Oh
they did.
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of good. I'm kind of glad about that. My husband and I have in our past. One of our hobbies has been to purchase homes that we can reclaim some of the moldings and the flooring and things like that. And so we had an opportunity about 10 years ago to attend an auction. It was an estate sale for a lady that had passed away. Her son was selling all of the things, and the home was going to be the final item at the end of the day of the auction. And it was this magnificent 100-plus-year-old home on a country estate, but the home was what was for sale, but not the property. So you had to be willing to demo the house. You had to take the house down basically and get what you wanted out of it, as far as the trim and the flooring and
Right. All the
stair
tradition.
stair rail balusters and those kinds of things. Cabinetry, anything like that she wanted, and then he was going to excavate the rest of it to clear the land to build a new home on. And so when we bought this home, several of the neighbors, older ladies who had been friends of her, came and wanted to see what we were doing, and they liked walking through and reminiscing, in the home. And one day, one of the ladies said, "Come to this room. I have to tell you about this room." And it was a front room in the front of the house, kind of a parlor type room. And she proceeded probably for the next 30 minutes to start just naming by name all of the people whose wake had been held there, and that their bodies had been laid out in this room. The visitation, the viewing, and I couldn't go back in the house again after that. My husband had to do the rest.
Oh, really? That was probably in the 1930s, 20s, and 30s, because that's my one and only memory of a neighbor, a gentleman. And I was only a little girl, 8 or 9 years old. And I don't know why my parents had to drag me across the street to be part of it, but they did. And so I saw that gentleman laid out in his casket, and I
Mm.
didn't like it.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah,
let's switch for a moment and talk a little bit about our mutual friend Melody, and
right.
how you two came to know one another. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of how a calling on your life has been to pour into other women, and kind of where that evolved from.
Well, I will go with the calling first because I never approached it as a calling. It just happened. I People used to say, "Your face allows me," or words to this effect. "Your face allows me to be open with you, to talk with you, and what would you do?" And that's little comments like that and conversations following that. Just, I don't know, I kind of got the idea that, well, maybe my thoughts do have some value for someone else. Because, at my age, there's hardly a thing that happens to anyone that I haven't lived, good, bad, and otherwise. So I don't call it a calling. I just call it an opportunity. And I love to talk about the Lord and how the Lord has sustained me. And I usually have an example. And as far as Melanie goes, that's kind of a cute story. She and I had no idea who the other was. And one Sunday after church, I can't even remember what we were clearing off of a table. But I had this really large bag that I had brought things in, but most of those things were already gone. So I'm standing there with this almost empty bag. And she said, "Oh, I have so much to carry. Are you going to use your bag?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Oh, I'm Melody." And I said, "Oh, well, I'm Ruth." And so I gave her the bag to use. So, assuming next week she would return the bag. Well, next week she came and no bag. So I said, "Honey, don't forget my bag." It was a big canvas bag and it was very useful to me. So the next week, I believe she was without the bag again. So I said, "I don't like to nag, but," or words to that effect. This was years and years ago. So she said, "I have to confess, my dog urinated on it, and I don't know what to do about it." I said, "Well, just bring it to me and I'll wash it." So we laughed about that, and we chatted, and she said to me, "Well, I hope we can be friends after this." And I said, "Well, we're almost friends."
Oh,
So we maintained that little name for us for a long time. We're almost friends. And then it turned out that Melody needed a home. She needed a place to stay for a while. Well, I'd been widowed about maybe a year and a half, and I wasn't liking it at all. My home was too large for two people, let alone one. So I said to her, the Lord was very clear about that with me. He said, "What are you doing with all those empty bedrooms?" So I said to her, "If you need a place to stay for a little while, my home is open to you." So she couldn't believe it because we really did not know each other that well.
you're still just almost friends.
So the next week I brought a house key and a garage door opener. And I said, let's try this out. I mean, all we could do is try it out. So then she wrote me the sweetest note about she wanted to sit at my feet and listen to me, which made me laugh. And I said, because in essence, I've learned as much from Melody as she's learned from me. She's a very delightful young woman who has devoted her life to the Lord, and she's so solid and so dogmatic about her Christian walk. And I admire her very, very much.
Do too. I do too.
But that's the way it worked out for Melody and I. We absolutely got to know each other very, very well. And she helped me, and I think I helped her, and we've been very close friends ever since.
Great.
And she could be my daughter.
Oh, she's precious. She's precious. And I know she values your friendship so much. Let's talk about the name Muppy.
That's a sweet, sad story. 42 years ago, we lost our son, and when he was a senior in high school, he was an excellent skier, and he was overtraining with the French, Swiss, and Italian national ski teams in Europe. He wanted to be the kid from Ohio that made the '72 Olympics. And he came home, and 6 weeks after he returned home, he started having grand mal seizures. So everyone assumed that he had fallen and had an aneurysm or something of that sort. Well, after many months, this was before the CAT scan or anything else, so after many months of testing and medication, which made him nothing but a ghost of himself, they diagnosed him with a brain tumor, a huge brain tumor, which they removed and took out the whole left temporal side of his brain, from which he was very limited. So we had 6 not so great years, and then he developed another brain tumor. And they expected Billy to survive 3 to 6 months. Well, he lived almost 3 years because he had this determination that he was. And then one day I went up to his bedroom and he said, "Mom, I don't want to die, but if that's God's will for my life, I have to be obedient, don't I?" I said, "Well, we do have to be obedient in those areas, Bill. I don't know what your timetable is." But he he went on and tried very hard to be normal, which he couldn't be, but he decided that I needed a puppy. So I would not be lonely when he left us because he knew he was failing more than anyone else did. Well, he was trying to write mom. Well, of course, I needed a puppy like I needed a third arm, which I could have used more because we had 3 dogs, two 71-pound dogs and a Cairn Terrier. So what does he do? He brings me another Cairn Terrier, which was adorable. But anyhow, he was trying to write mom and puppy. And of course, it came out Muppy. And everybody thought that was so adorable. So I've been Muppy ever since. The following
Oh,
Christmas, my husband gave me a necklace that had Muppy on it and said, Billy sent this to you from heaven.
oh,
So that's where I got the name Muppy, and Muppy on my throat, Muppy on my license plate. So that's the story of Muppy.
that's beautiful.
All the while our son was ill, and all the while after he died, it was extremely hard, of course. I can't think of anything much worse than losing a child that you love. And people can ask the most inane questions. We got questions like, well, you have 3 daughters. Would it have been easier if it had been one of them? Or aren't you mad at the Lord because, et cetera, et cetera. And it brought our family closer than we normally. I mean, we were a close family, as close as you could be in this day and age, but it brought us even closer and gave us more patience with one another and made us more understanding. And it was purely all the Lord. There is no two ways about that. It was simply the Lord. My husband and I found out that over 80, I think it's 82% of marriages fail after the loss of a child, whether it's a child or an adult child,
Mhm.
which just astounded us. And we thought we'd never been closer. So we never understood that
Mhm.
fact.
Mhm.
We were just grateful we weren't part of the 82%.
Yeah, you were part of the part of the minority in that stat. Yeah. Wow.
We all have our ways of drawing on the Lord, and of course, my life verse is Jeremiah 17:7 and 8. And I believe that the only place I can get strength is like that little tree next to the water, where my roots will go down deep. As the roots go into the water, I feel my soul going into Scripture.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think that's the only way that I could ever have survived that could have survived the loss of my husband, that
Mhm.
I could have survived a lot of the things that a family has to go through,
Mhm.
good, bad, and otherwise.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of your daily habits where you strengthen that faith?
Well, we have a devotional in the morning, of course, and if I do, I'm very slow in the morning now. I have to admit to that. I used to be able to do 5 things at once, which that's gone by the wayside. But sometimes in the morning, if I have to be out of here before I could sit and do a devotional, give it the proper time,
Mhm.
it gets done during the day.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just like to read the scripture. Just
Mhm.
read the scripture because, there's never a time that you read it that you don't learn something new. Our pastor at the chapel in Akron used to say, read the book of John over and over and over, and every time you read it, you're going to learn something new. He said, wherever you are in life, the Lord is going to meet you there when you read John. And I believe that. And so that's what it is. Just like the water going to the roots of the little tree, I feel the word feeds my soul and gives me strength. And I ask the Lord for a lot of things, small and large. And the Lord, I sense His presence. I can lie in bed at night and sense the presence of the Holy Spirit.
Mhm.
And how do you express that? How much, I don't know how to show as much gratitude as I should with that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But that's the way I claim Him on my life. And of course, at my age, I'm certainly looking forward
Oh, yeah.
to that day, whether I leave from here, the Lord's calling, or whether the Lord comes to meet us.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah. You said at your age, at my age, I'm excited, about that. And I think I just want what I want, is for everyone that I know and love, even those I don't even know, to have that kind of excitement about meeting Jesus and to be so in love with Jesus that no matter what age they are, they have that excitement about their going home day to meet him
Mhm.
face to face.
But even some days I feel like, do I love him enough? How can I love him more?
Right.
Uh, it's the relationship certainly causes you to stay on a spiritual track, doesn't it?
It does.
And what you said about you wish everyone. What saddens me sometimes is the fact that there are so many Christian in church that say, "Aren't you afraid?" And no, no, I'm not
Yeah.
afraid.
Yeah, I walked that same journey. I'm not, we haven't had a chance to discuss it, I don't think, but I've been walking a journey fighting melanoma for 10 years now.
Oh my.
And so that has strengthened my faith a lot, but I've had people say to me, aren't you just tired and angry and aren't you afraid of your future? And I know that people think, well, she's just in denial, but in my,
Right.
but I do not fear it because I win either way. That's usually my answer is I win either way. If I beat the disease on this side of heaven, I win. If the disease beats me and takes me to heaven, I win, so
Yeah. Yeah, I'm agreeing with everything that you're saying because I truly believe that too. Um, I'm forever asking the Lord to forgive me for a thought or a word or. I'm a human being who has so many failings. Uh, we are a very vocal family, and we very often are overriding one another's words and trying really hard. We've been trying for years to fix that habit, but we haven't. But we're forever saying, "Oh, sorry, sorry," and then I'm saying, "Lord, why can't I say it and mean it?"
yeah, yeah,
But and I agree with what you're saying about people say things to you like what you just expressed, because I never want people to think I'm just talking to talk.
right.
Even though I love to talk, I mean it from the bottom of my heart, and my concern is that I won't express it correctly, that they will pay attention to what the intent is.
hmm Oh, I can't believe you just said that word, Miss Ruth.
Oh, believe it, I did.
I have to tell you why. So you're going to be day 30. You are the final episode that we're recording in the recording order, but your episode is going to air. So the day that this airs will be the 30th. And then there will be one more episode in this series of this month. There's in every single episode, the word intentional or the act of intention has come up in some form or fashion
Yeah.
related to each woman talking about their faith or talking about kindness or talking about something they were striving to improve. The word intentional has come up. I can't believe but that it's just the Lord. It's got some kind of message for us, and maybe it's just for me about
Well,
intention and intentionality.
don't you think that's like minds?
I do. I do.
I believe that because, well, I had a wonderful husband. I wish, of course, in hindsight, I'd appreciated him more when I was trying to have my way. But he was a wonderful Christian man who was very well respected, a wonderful Bible teacher, and used his business as a stepping stone for others. He had a Bible study at the office, and we had a Bible study at home, and I mean, it was just our outreach, and we loved it. And our friends became dear, dear friends. I mean, we truly felt like family without any exaggeration. That's the way we felt about the people we were involved with Bible study in our church family.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband, one of the things, two things that he taught that I remember clearly was when he taught the young people, first high school and in later years college career kids. He always said, especially the college career kids, he used to say, hang out your shingle. No matter where the Lord leads you, no matter what vocation you're in. And he said, and I don't care if you are a high-priced lawyer or a fancy doctor or you collect the rubbish. He said, you do the best you can for the Lord. And he wanted everyone to have his story. And by his story, I mean his or her story.
Right.
But the history, he wanted them to have a history of walking with the Lord, coming to the Lord, walking with the Lord, working for the Lord. And to this day, and now we had this college career Bible study in the 70s and 80s, and I'm still hearing from these kids. Kids who are now in their 70s and great-grandparents.
Wow.
It's family, right?
Family, that's legacy, Miss Ruth. That's what that is. You know, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you in closing is what do you want your legacy of your 94 beautiful years and hopefully many more to be?
I want my legacy to be that my grandchildren see the worth, the value, the wonderful life through gladness, through sadness, through good times, through bad times, through joy, through heartache, that the walk with Christ is the only walk to have. That is what I want my grandchildren to see. In this day and age, it's too easy for them to go off to a secular university, learn everything they shouldn't, and then walk away from the Lord. And oh yeah, you know, they love it when we say, well, I'll pray about that. And I don't know, my daughter has such a great take on it. She says, Mom, their story isn't finished yet. Remember, Dad used to say they haven't put the end at their story yet. So I sort of go by that too. I wish everyone would come to know Christ.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
so we all.
Absolutely. We should. We should want that.
Yeah. But I couldn't live my life without him, I don't believe. I don't know what I would do.
That's beautiful, Miss Ruth. Miss Ruth, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. I think we could carry this conversation on all day long. And
Well, I had the blessing.
yeah, and so let's do it again. We're going to do an episode, going to do a series next year on friendship. So I think I should get you and Melody to do a episode together.
Oh, that would be so fun. Of course, you know, I may be up there talking to Mary Magdalene or someone. I may be busy.
Well, that you may be busy. Okay, that's true. We'll give you that. We'll give you that. So
But just try and reach me. I'd love
I'll
it.
try to reach you. Yeah, okay. Miss Ruth, thank you so much for sitting down with us. You're such a blessing to us all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I feel the same about you. You were the greatest surprise and the joy that I haven't had for several days. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you
precious,
for inviting me to do this.
precious. That's wonderful. You have a great day.
You also. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining in today for this episode of the 31 in 31 series, a month of conversations with Proverbs 31 women here at the Authentically You Network podcast. We look forward to yet another great episode tomorrow and hope that you will join us to be inspired, encouraged, and have your faith strengthened. Have a great day and be blessed.